First few episodes of X-Men 97 are out, and guys, this shit is gas. It's absolute heat. I'm so excited about it. I'm going to be talking about it with spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, maybe give the video a like, come back to it later. But this episode, episode 1 alone, has so many cool little Easter eggs and callbacks. So episode 1 begins with a young mutant, Roberto da Costa, aka Sunspot for those of you who are unfamiliar, being rescued by the X-Men. And Night of the Living Sentinels Part 1, which is the first episode of the original X-Men series, featured a young mutant, Jubilee, also being rescued by the X-Men. Back in that original episode, the first thing Jubilee sees after waking up in the mansion is Beast hanging upside down from the ceiling. So, of course, that's the first thing Roberto sees when he wakes up, with the added exception of Jubilee herself being there, which I thought was a nice little touch. Action in this episode was absolutely incredible. I am stunned by the animation. It looks so good. It's so fun. It's so fluid. But it's also trying to, keep that same look that the original series had. But I could write an entire fucking dissertation about this being the best on-screen adaptation we've ever gotten of Cyclops. They did my boy Scott Summers so much justice in just these first 2 episodes, but this first fight scene alone was enough to make me absolutely want to cry tears of joy. Also, I wanted to give a little shout out because we see Jubilee asking what Roberto's powers are, and she says, "Do you shoot gold balls from your body?" And for those of you who don't know, there is a mutant named Gold Balls whose entire power is to shoot gold balls out of his body. Another thing I really wanted to praise this show for is the amount of time it dedicates to filling you in on things that happened in the previous series so that you don't necessarily have to watch it for yourself. For example, the whole thing with Trask and the Master Mold Sentinel was a very heavy part of Season 1 of the original series, but instead of just assuming you, the viewer, has already seen it, they take the time to, incorporate it in the dialogue of the show, which was great. And I know we saw it in the trailer, but this first To Me My X-Men, still chills. Got chills. As another callback to the first episode of the original series, we see the X-Men taking on a bunch of Sentinels. Also, the moment where Storm gets the Omega level classification from these things and then she just absolutely wipes them out was fucking amazing. Later in the episode, we get a moment where Jubilee has a heart-to-heart with Roberto on top of the X-Mansion, exactly like Storm did with Jubilee in the original first episode. Now, something I did find absolutely hilarious was that when Scott and Jean are talking about leaving the team, Jubilee says, well, they were the first X-Men, who would lead? And for one, Storm, who has led the team multiple times in the original series, is literally standing right there. But she said they were the first X-Men, and Hank is also they go out of their way to show him in the first class. I mean, there's easy answers. These first 2 episodes were absolutely perfect to me. Let me know what you all thought about them in the comments, and I'll be breaking down episode 2 later, so make sure you like and follow for that.